So I still keep up with Rock-afire Explosion stuff. I don't make Rock-afire stuff anymore because Aaron told me not to. But so I woke up this morning. Obviously I've kept up with the whole Volo Museum event, and it was pretty cool. I wish I could have gone, but I spent some time with my fiance instead, which is worth a lot more valuable time than going to see the Rock-afire Explosion. So apparently it has come to my attention that the new album that they made from the Volo event, they used AI on the cover art of it. They were trying to replicate the art style of Dave Thomas, who was the legendary main artist behind the Rock-afire Explosion stuff. Like, he did the banners on top of the stage and everything. He did all the album art. So let's take a look at the situation, because I'm not like fully aware of every little detail other than the fact that AI was used somewhere. So let's read on Aaron Fechter's posts about what happened. So here's Aaron's post that he made on YouTube. He made 2 of them. We're gonna go over both of them because I need to understand his perspective, of course, and we'll read some of the comments. And I'll do it in some fun voices because why not? So Aaron says, the artist behind the cover of our new album is Jack Turner. He spent more than 80 hours working with AI tools to bring this image to life. Oh, I should show you the image actually in question. I did find it. I did some digging. I found the image. Sorry, I didn't plan the order of this video before I started making it. Here's the album cover. This is what everyone's all upset about. If we zoom in, I still can't find a super decent close-up of it. So this is the best I can do, because they want you to buy it and then own $75 of AI. I'm sure the music's fine. I'm sure the music is actually like real, but the album cover, like I would not buy one of these, which sucks because my fiance has a record player and I could get one and play it, but I don't want to support the use of AI, you know? Like, for me, that supersedes everything. I mean, the reason I am doing this project... Editing empty here, I forgot to explain what the project was. I'm going to take this AI album cover and make my own version with my own skills. Okay, anyway, sorry, back to video. Is because I graduated with a minor in illustration alongside my major in photography. So I'm a professional illustrator, all right? I got quite the portfolio, and as an illustrator, it just hurts me to see the use of AI in things that I love. So this is the album cover, and you can tell, like, AI is so good, I admit, to the point that it's hard to tell. It gets harder to tell every day, and that is so sucky. But you can still see some weird little artifacts here. I don't know, this wall looks so much taller back here than it does over here. That should be consistent, right? This frog is fine, I guess. Like, I like the engine coming out of the hood, but why are these different than these, right? I feel like that would have been paid attention to by an artist. Some symmetry would be kept. I don't get who the witch is. I don't know if that's a Rock-afire thing or a creative engineering thing that I forgot about. Ditch the witch. I don't know why that's there. Have Fats drive the car. Mitzi looks really small in comparison to Duke. Duke and Mitzi both look really small in comparison to the rest of the gang back here. I know they're smaller characters, but the proportioning here is a little ridiculous. I don't know if Beach Bear is holding a pair of teeth or if his hand is a pair of teeth. But for some reason, there are dentures involved with Beach Bear's hand, and I don't understand that. I don't know if that might have been something the AI did. I wish they didn't slap the Rock-afire Explosion logo right over the Uncle Cliff side. I like the inclusion of the Yuta, or the whatever his car was called. It has 4 wheels, which that's wrong if you know anything regarding to creative engineering. I wonder if Aaron ever caught on to that. I will get back to the Aaron post. I realized the order of this video is wrong. I should be going over this first, and then going over Aaron's side. So sorry if I'm confusing you a bit. So overall, yeah, you can tell it's all AI. Like, I can do better. That sounds like a very main character syndrome thing to say, I know, but I will try to do better. Because I'm not quite to the level of Dave Thomas's art. I admit that. But for this special project, I'm going to study it. I'm going to study Dave Thomas's art, and I'm going to really get myself here. And that's the purpose of this video. That's the purpose of this project, is to prove to Aaron Fector that human work is more valuable than AI work, because I will actually put in the effort to try and replicate Dave Thomas's art style, because that was the goal in the start anyway. The goal was to replicate Dave Thomas's style. And I just using AI for it. Let's see what Aaron has to say for himself. So, back to this thing. Sorry, I left in the middle of it to do a whole segment. The artist behind the cover of our new album is Jack Turner. That seems to be wrong if AI was used. He spent more than 80 hours working with AI tools to bring this image to life. I don't know how you spend 80 hours typing in prompts. I'm going to spend 80 hours trying to hand make the new album cover. So, let's see what turns out better in 80 hours. AI is just a tool in the hands of a talented artist. Oh, I forgot I was doing a voice. AI is just a tool in the hands of... That sounds more like my character Coditus. I don't like that. Coditus does not support AI. For those that know my whole Chipicot project. Why is my... Forgot to put this back over here. Let's try and bring up that Billy Bob. I think it'd be funny if I read this as Billy Bob. AI is just a tool in the hands of a talented artist that can help create something extraordinary. In the wrong hands, including mine, it produces garbage. Don't sell yourself short like that. In the hands of a talented artist, it can help create something extraordinary. In the wrong hands, including mine, it produces garbage. So you decided that you're not going to look for a talented artist, you're just going to give it to Jack Turner to feed it into AI. Before turning... Okay, wait, never mind. I didn't read ahead yet. Before turning to AI, I worked with several traditional artists in an attempt to achieve the image I had in mind. None were able to deliver what I was looking for. Some also turned out to be associated with the Rock-afire Mafia, and quite frankly, I would rather have AI assisting me than rely on people who have spent years attacking the very thing they claim to love. Alright, you know what? If you're looking for a talented artist, I think maybe your reach should widen. I think you should do a call for artists, like out on the internet or something. Maybe he did. I just don't remember if he did. Editing MT here to say that he did actually put out a very public internet call for a drummer for the Volo show. So, I'm not gonna totally say he didn't at least try to do a big reach for artists. But to support my argument, it feels like he still could have done more if he had to end up resorting to AI. I feel like if we resorted to AI over here, maybe we should have done more first instead of just being like, whatever. We're just gonna use AI instead of using these artists who have actually put in some effort to try and help us. That kind of sucks, man. That kind of sucks. These poor artists were actually tasked to help Aaron with this, and he's like, you know what? Nah. Maybe I will admit I don't understand the entire situation. It could be very different, right? I don't want to give... I know it's Aaron Fector, but I don't want to give, flack for everything that I don't understand. So, yeah, keep that in mind. I might say things, but, I am being stupid because I don't understand everything. So, keep that in mind, all right? If Aaron Fector decides to review this video... make a whole deal out of it, like he did with the one guy who made a video on him. Keep in mind, Aaron Fector, I may say stupid things. I may be being a fetus over here. So just so you know who's in the wrong and who's in the right, I guess. I'm taking this with my own mind. I'm just taking it in as it is, so bear with me. As for the influence of Dave Thomas on his on this artwork. Every artist I have worked with since Dave has been encouraged to study his style and learn from it, which is what I'm going to do. Dave himself was influenced by artists who came before him. Anyone familiar with his work can see the influence of artists such as Robert Crumb. All right, we're going to look up Robert Crumb. That is how art has always evolved. Artists learn from other artists, build upon what inspires them, and create something new. And that is right. That is true. That is a very, very good message to portray. That's what art is all about. We take from other artists, inspire ourselves with it, and create our own artwork, create our own work. I can list what I'm inspired by. And I've learned a lot about that in art school especially, Heck, for photography too. When I was in my photography classes, my professor, Melissa, shout out to Melissa, she's amazing. She also likes the Rock-afire Explosion, like, I kind of introduced her to it, and she's just loving it, loving the whole thing. So my photography professor, Melissa, she would look at her work during critiques and then write down names on the whiteboard. And she would implore that we look up these names of other photographers and artists to inspire us further with our current craft. And that's a good thing to encourage. If you're getting into art, look at other artists. Don't feel like, you'd be stealing from someone. If you're looking for inspiration, stealing from someone would be like straight up like taking their art directly. There's a fine line between plagiarism and inspired work. You gotta be, as an artist, you gotta be careful of those things, but being inspired, there's nothing wrong with that. So, good message, I like that. But for this album, I had a specific vision. I knew exactly what I wanted the cover to look like, and there was simply no practical way to achieve that vision as quickly and accurately as Jack Turner was able to do with AI as part of his creative process. I think what happened was that he just resorted to AI with someone he knew, someone he trusted. So, I get the Aaron angle of you don't want to be out there too much. You want to stay with I want to stay with the people that I know. Because the people that I know aren't little fetuses. I get that. I understand that. I understand. You want to work with the people you already know. You want to work with the people, but I feel like for something like this that you're going to give out to the community, to the Rock-afire community, you should have reached out to the Rock-afire community until you got what you wanted, It's just like, it's a better way to support the work, the effort, right? Gosh, the Rock-afire Explosion and its music, that wasn't created with AI. Right? I'm sure Aaron Fector did use his closer friends to help with that, but creative engineering had thousands of employees. Those weren't all close friends. All those guys, all those women who who mass-produced the Rock-afire Explosion for showbiz, that wasn't AI. Those were all sorts of random employees from across, the land. It's like, I don't know, like the same thing could apply to this. Keep searching, like if I wanted someone to replicate this one particular style and a handful of artists couldn't do it, I would keep reaching out. I would not stop until I find someone who can do it, and I would not resort to AI. I think that's what everyone wishes Aaron would do, from my understanding so far from in this situation. But Aaron seemed to have resorted to AI or resorted to Jack Turner, who used AI. That's my understanding. Again, I'm not saying that is what is. Again, don't call me a fetus just yet. Don't call me fetus just yet. I that's just my understanding. The way I'm approaching this situation is that I'm just reading it, giving my thoughts, and then reading more, and then changing my thoughts because it's different than what I just thought it was. But all right, bear with me on this one. I'm still going. Maybe I should just be reading the whole thing and then concluding. But I roll a different way, So everyone sees the world, approaches the world differently. Jack deserves the credit for this piece of Rock-afire artwork. If anyone believes creating something with this AI is easy, I encourage them to try it themselves. Heck no, because picking up a pencil and sketching. No. All right, I'm sorry I have to stop again. No. Everyone knows. Look, Producing a meaningful image that captures the Rock-afire explosion, its history, its characters, and its spirit is not something that happens by accident. The tool did not create the vision, the artist did. Well, yeah, you know, like, Jack Turner told the AI what he wanted, but Jack Turner did not sketch out what he wanted and then outlined it. I'm sorry, Jack Turner. Maybe I'm underestimating you. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, if you can, that I'm sure Jack Turner didn't think of, like, meticulously studying Dave Thomas, which is what I'm willing to do in this video. That's why I'm making this video, is that this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to study Dave Thomas's art style, and I'm going to replicate it with sketching it out and outlining it and literally painting it. I'm not going to use digital. This is the only digital tool we should be working with. Is an app like Procreate. Where you're still using your own hand, your own muscles, in your wrists and your arms to create something. And you're not just using your fingers to type in a prompt. That's why everyone's complaining, Aaron. That's why everyone's complaining, is because it's not about the prompts. It's because someone didn't use their own hands to make such beautiful artwork, you know? And instead it was just a bunch of words typed into a machine, and the machine does it for you. That's the problem. I'm still holding on to maybe I don't know the whole story. Maybe Jack Turner started it with AI, and then maybe he actually did finish like some of the art. Maybe he refined it with his hands. I don't know. But the reason why people are upset, and the reason why Aaron's snapping back, is because people are upset that human hands didn't create the artwork that he wanted. That's it. That's all. Like, I don't know. I'm not insulting Aaron Fechter. Let me make that clear. I'm not insulting Aaron Fechter. I'm not calling him names. I'm questioning his actions. I want to make that super clear, by the way. For this whole video, I'm not going to insult or mock Aaron Fechter. I mean, I'm reading it in a voice because I just think that's fun. You know, Rock-afire Explosion is about fun. That's what we're doing. So, I'm not trying to mock Aaron Fechter. Maybe I am a little bit with the voices, but I'm trying to make this a fun video rather than a super serious one. So bear with me on that. But I'm not trying to insult Aaron Fechter. I'm just trying to question him. I want to make that super clear. Out the board. I probably should have said this earlier. So enough ranting. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about this kind of thing. Because obviously I stand with human artists. So hard. So, I mean, he is right. The tool did not create the vision. The artist did. But the artist did not create the image. That's the problem. That is the issue. People sometimes criticize AI-generated artwork while happily embracing every other digital tool available. Paint is a tool, a pencil is a tool, Photoshop is a tool, recording software is a tool. AI is simply another tool. If someone argues that using AI makes artwork illegitimate, then they must also explain why every other technological advancement in art should be treated differently. That argument does not hold up. This is the argument that all AI bros attach themselves to. While yes, AI is a tool, that is not wrong, and I'm not going to argue against that. The problem is how you use the tool. Editing MT here to say that the problem is how you use the tool. These people are using the tool to be the art. A paintbrush isn't the art. A iPad isn't the art. And a camera isn't the art. You know, I went into photography. I understand that photography completely wrecked some of the value to painting, at least in the eyes of many. But here's the thing, between painting and photography, while photography, yes, is a lot less valuable than the intricate artistry of a painting, it's about how you use it, you know? It's about how you use it. Photographing something is still human-made. You take a camera, right? And you have to know what the ISO does. You have to know what the f-stop does. You have to know what aperture you want, what shutter speed. You want to know what your white balance should be set to, right? A lot of that comes from the human brain. And then you take your eye up to the viewfinder. Take your lens cap off too. That requires human mind. You look through the viewfinder. You focus. And your brain, your human brain, thinks about the composition, right? Rule of thirds. You want to capture a good balance of sky and ground. If you're doing a portrait, don't cut the image off at people's joints. It feels like an amputation. Thank you, Melissa, for teaching me that. Right? Rule of thirds. You think about this stuff in your human brain. And then you take the picture. My camera's not on for that. But you get the idea, right? All that is still human driven. The camera does not do the art for you. You use the camera to make the art yourself. AI just takes images from what it's trained on and meshes them together. It doesn't think about ISO. It doesn't think about aperture or f-stop or white balance. It doesn't think about composition, right? You are not being the artist. You are being the prompt. You are just telling someone what you want. What did AI do? It takes from what it's trained on. AI cannot create something entirely new for you. I mean, yeah, there's that argument of like, oh, well, AI takes inspiration, but it's just still not the same, I get why AI bros are so, like, I understand the argument. I think here's the best way to compare AI art to human art. AI is like, all it does is like you tell an artist you want this really cool painting. Like I want a painting, all right? A painting with a paintbrush and everything. And it's like some guy, like you tell some guy to do that. This guy takes a bunch of magazines from existing paintings, like painting magazines. And he flips through them and cuts out art that's already a thing and pastes it all together to try and create something new. It's like, you didn't do that yourself with a paintbrush. You just took what you saw in there and just put it together. I want you to make a painting with a paintbrush. That's the argument. That's it. That's what's going on. That's what Aaron Fector, that's what all AI defenders don't understand. And it's a lot less valuable than real human art because of that. Yeah, paint is a tool. A pencil is a tool. Photoshop is a tool. There's a huge argument on Photoshop. You know what's funny about Photoshop is that everyone's mad about the AI integration to Photoshop because that still, even in Photoshop, that still takes away from the human design aspect of it. Like you can circle something and say, put a cat in here, and it'll do so instead of, like, why not do that yourself? It'll look better. Like, I mean, there's a lot more valuable effort in finding an image of a cat and photoshopping it into the image than just having AI do it. And the cat has like 8 freaking toes on all its paws. Explain why every other technological advancement in art should be treated. I just did with photography. That's it. I just did it. I just tore down your whole argument with photography. Photography had a whole thing with painting. And I just explained why cameras as a tool are better than AI because there's still such a human-driven element behind it. So, boom. And we humans take these things. We take these cameras and we go out there and find the photos and take it ourselves with our human brains instead of sitting down under a computer, eating some Doritos, and typing in a little prompt to make an image based off of images that already exist, right? But when you go out there with a camera and you compose it yourself, you are making your own image. You're making something new. You're making your own brand new image by yourself with your human brain. Isn't that awesome? So yeah, there's your argument. There's the argument. It does hold up because it's a different thing. It's not the same. Should have just said that at the start instead of going into the whole rant. It's not the same. That said, I do not plan to use AI for every future project. There are many situations where I want an artist's personal interpretation and creativity to lead the way. I feel like, Aaron, you should have just stuck to that from the start. I intend to release a great deal more music, and for some future albums, I may simply select an artist and tell them, do whatever you want, no direction, no requirements. Just pure artistic expression. That will be an interesting experiment in its own right. I feel like, Aaron, you should have just stuck to that, because now you're in this controversy. See, I like that, Aaron. I wish that was all you did. I think that's why everyone's so mad, is because that's what we wish you did from the start, is stick to that experiment. Because now you went ahead and used AI, which, I get it. You were trying something new. But I feel like, I don't know, people should do research into it and realize why. Despite how new and exciting it is to create images on the computer with just typing in a sentence, I don't know, I feel like the way you should have gone about it was to stick to that. I don't know. There's just something weird here, like what Aaron's saying is, oh yeah, I used AI. I took the cheap route. But hey, I won't do it again. Hey, I just murdered someone, but I won't do it again. That's not a fair comparison. I'm just making a fun analogy. Yeah, I gave a hobo a fake $20 bill, but I won't do it again. This album cover, however, was different. The cover needed to match a very specific vision, and it needed to be completed quickly. For that challenge, Jack Turner was exactly the right person for the job. I'm gonna track the time that'll take me to make the new album cover, and we'll see. We'll see what quick is. I'm not gonna be cheap on my end of the bargain, but I'll go lengths to defend human artists over AI ones. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm going lengths by bringing Rock-afire content back to empty creations, all to defend human artists. It's crazy. Thank you, Jack Turner. You are the creative force who made this cover possible, and you deserve the recognition for bringing it to life. I'm not gonna crap on Jack Turner. I'm sorry if it came across like I did previously with whatever I've already just said in this video. I'm not gonna diss on Jack Turner for using AI. The situation already happened, right? I don't know. I feel like what should have happened is Aaron Fechter should have just found a good artist, and maybe Jack Turner should have tried actual art. I don't know. I feel like as a society, we should be just using AI for the right things, which is not substituting human-made art. That's where I stand. Yeah, you made AI art, whatever. It's fine, whatever. They just shouldn't go to hell for that or anything. That's not what I'm saying by critiquing this. I am just critiquing it, which is different than insulting. Remember that. I'm not insulting Aaron, and I'm not insulting Jack Turner. I'm not calling you names, and I am not telling you guys that you are bad people. I'm just critiquing your actions, and I'm questioning them. Okay? Are we clear? Okay? Got it. All right. Good. We're on the same page. Good. So Jack Turner, he's a cool guy, right? He has his own Rock-afire. I followed him a bit. I got nothing against Jack Turner. I think it's just I wish the situation was different. That's all I'm saying, okay? And I'm just arguing against the pro AI argument because I'm very passionate about that kind of thing. I'm very passionate about keeping human-made artists in the spotlight. I graduated with a degree in photography and a minor in illustration. I did not graduate in a degree in AI prompting, okay? All right? I want that to be clear. That's why I'm so flamed up about this. And as always, Dave Thomas remains my favorite artist of all time. I never missed an opportunity to tell people about his work and the impact he had on me. This cover is both a tribute to Dave and an expression of my admiration for him. Jack even hid numerous Easter eggs throughout the artwork in true Dave Thomas fashion. See how many you can find. So don't listen to the complainers. Enjoy the Rock-afire Explosion, enjoy the music, and enjoy the work of the talented people who continue to support it. Maybe I won't get a video from Aaron Fechter going over this video if he's not going to listen to the complainers. I just want to put my position out there. I don't care if Aaron Fechter doesn't see this, by the way. This message is for all you guys. Everyone who's watching this video, my complaining is going for you guys, all right? Whoever's watching this video, I don't care if Aaron Fechter sees it. He already has his stance on it, clearly, and he's pretty strong about it, all right? That's fine, whatever. I'm just critiquing things. That's what we artists do. if you didn't know. We don't insult people and their work. We critique them. Very big difference. And if you're an artist intending to creating a future album cover and you're not part of the Rock-afire Mafia, send me some samples of your work at Aaron's email. I would love to see what you can do. You know what I will? I'm going to send my recreation of the album cover that I'm going to make to Aaron. I'll do it. And I'm not going to create the AI's work line for line, by the way. That's not what I'm set to do here, by the way. I feel like I should have made that clear earlier. I'm going to put my own spin on it. All right? I'm going to take the base idea of the cover and just put my own spin on it with my own style inspired by Dave Thomas's work. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's the goal of this video. That's the goal of what I'm doing here. All right, now we're going to read some of the comments because I think there's some good people here fighting the good fight. Let's read them in Looney Bird's voice. Just to prove that I'm not mocking Aaron, I'm just reading it in a voice. Oh, future show tapes AI generated 2026. That was just a joke. That was funny. Yeah, all future show tapes are now going to be AI generated. But Aaron did say that he doesn't want to use AI for future projects. You know, I'm going to give him credit for that. We'll see if that holds up. Better promise us, Aaron, that that's the case. Despite your very strong opinions on defending AI. Let me move this. Don't get me wrong, I love this band and your work, Aaron, but I think that there's so many talented and creative artists in this community that you wouldn't need AI to assist. Just my opinion. Yeah, right? Yes! This Looney Bird's got it. This Looney Bird has got it. That's exactly what I've been arguing this whole time. Wow, you didn't even read the post? He clearly said he tried actual artists. Sound like you didn't read it. I did. Read the part saying he tried actual artists. You're clearly missing it. It's exactly what I said is what this person is trying to say. There's so many talented creative artists. You can't just stick to a handful. You got to keep trying. You got to find the right person. All right? I'm going to prove to Aaron that I'm also one of the right people. Hey there, Aaron. Love the Volo concert. I noticed that you keep mentioning the Rock-afire Mafia. What do you mean by that? Okay, that's an unrelated question. Whoever Luca Doamar is saying, people like Rock-afire but hate Aaron and think they're entitled to everything Rock-afire like copyright. Yeah. Technically, this video won't be allowed because I will be creating Rock-afire content. But you know what? Who cares? I'm defending human artists. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to steal Aaron Fechter's characters. I want to make that super clear. I'm not here to steal Aaron Fechter's characters, okay? I'm going to send the artwork to Aaron Fechter himself for him to see it, okay? All right? So it'll have a serial number on it by the end of this, I'm sure. And then it'll belong to Aaron and no longer belong to me. I enjoyed reading the petition and the comments that followed. Those of you who believe that a deceased artist would not want this style to influence future artists may not fully understand what drives a true artist. One of the greatest hopes an artist can have is that his work continues to inspire others long after he's gone. The dream is not simply to create something beautiful today, but to leave a lasting mark on the future. I certainly hope that my approach to animatronics, the music I have created, and the lessons I have tried to teach about programming and entertainment will continue long after I'm gone. If everything I have spent my life building dies with me, then I have failed. I want future generations to learn from my work, improve on it, and take it places I never imagined. So keep everything human-made, Aaron. Your work is a legacy. I know there's a lot of people who don't like you. I have had my beef with you, Aaron Fechter. I have. And frankly, I want your legacy to continue. I do. I don't want his legacy to just be all the people he called fetuses who deserved it, apparently. I want the Rock-afire Explosion to continue on, right? And that in itself is kind of a gray area because, I mean, Aaron Fechter wants the Rock-afire for himself. So when Aaron's gone, I don't know who's going to take up the Rock-afire mantle if it was only ever meant for him to use. But that's another thing. That's a whole different thing. But, you know, he's right. He's created a lot for us to leave behind when he's gone. I think what people just want it all to be human-made, Aaron. Dave Thomas felt the same way. And before anyone tells me what Dave would or would not have wanted, remember that Dave was my friend. Remember that Dave was my friend. I knew him personally. Most of the people making these claims did not. I knew his passion for art, his admiration for other artists, and his understanding that all art builds upon what came before it. He was a good artist. He was a true artist. Artists have always learned from other artists. Dave Thomas learned from artists who influenced him. Future artists will learn from Dave Thomas. That is not theft. That is natural progression of art. I have no doubt that Dave would be pleased to know that artists, whether human artists or artists using modern tools such as AI, continue to study, appreciate, and draw inspiration from his work. That is how artistic legacies survive. That is true. You know how artistic legacies survive? By humans themselves continuing to study, appreciate, and draw inspiration from Dave Thomas's work so they can do it themselves with their hands and not using tools such as AI to do it entirely. The paintbrush doesn't make an artwork by itself. Someone has to move the paintbrush, right? And that's the argument people are making on AI is like, well, yeah, someone's got to write the prompts, but it's a different thing. It's a different thing. That's the answer to this argument. It's different. Like maybe Dave Thomas, if he was still around today, maybe he would have liked AI. Maybe he would have used AI, right? I'm not going to argue against that. Aaron has a point that Aaron Fechter knew Dave Thomas better than the most of us did. I think the thing is, though, that a lot of artists see the amount of work and effort that goes into what Dave Thomas does, and some artists believe that with that amount of heart and effort, that that Dave Thomas, as an artist, with that amount of artistic talent, would not have subjected himself to the use of a machine that just does it for him. The show Smiling Friends did an episode on AI where they had this robot doing everything for them, and Alan was painting pictures of this one woman. Then he gets tired of doing the paintings and has the AI do it for him. I feel like any actual artist would not do. I mean, it's to just get tired of the craft you're passionate about and just have some AI do it for you. I mean, that's possible. It's possible that can happen, but that's a sad situation. Well, what I'm getting at is, I really do. I think it's just the fact that Dave Thomas was such a talented artist. Like, that just tells a lot of other artists who know the craft, who knows what goes into making art, that he likely would not have appreciated the cheapness of AI use to make a fully rendered art piece, or garbage slop. I don't know. I don't want to come across like I'm insulting this whole situation. I'm trying to take this super seriously. So that's why I'm not using terms such as garbage or slop, because I want you to understand that I am understanding this side of the argument. I'm being mindful of Aaron's side, and I'm trying to understand it and provide my thoughts on it. I just want that to be clear. Again, I do not want to be insulting Aaron. I do not want to be insulting Jack. And I certainly do not want to be insulting Dave Thomas. All right? I want to make that clear. I'm critiquing. A lot of people see critiques as insulting and as insults. So that's why I'm saying that over and over, so you're reminded that I'm not intending to insult Aaron Fechter. Okay? Are we clear? Great. But I do understand. Again, I am on the side. I am siding with Aaron on the fact that we do not know Dave Thomas, right? Again, still, going back to that, maybe Dave Thomas would have used AI. People just think he wouldn't because he was such a talented artist and he knew the craft so well that it just seems weird that he would go into AI. But who knows, right? The guy's no longer with us. We can't tell for sure what he would or would not have done. Aaron just needs to understand that's where artists are coming from. They just think he wouldn't because that's how artists work. We stick to our craft. Or most of us do. What I find ironic is that some of the same people claiming to defend Dave's legacy seem to be arguing that his influence should have ended the day he died. I can't imagine a greater misunderstanding of what an artist hopes to leave behind. What? Some people are claiming to defend Dave's legacy, by arguing that his influence should have ended the day he died. People were saying that. At the same time, I find that hard to believe, but that's wild. Aaron, don't listen to those people. Jeez. I'd want my art to continue after I die. I want a legacy, right? What? People are arguing that his influence should have ended the day he died. Maybe I'm trying to understand where that could come from. Maybe they're saying, maybe they were trying to say, because I'm trying to understand all positions here. I'm trying to understand everyone's side. I am biased towards human-driven art. I'm just trying to do my due diligence in not being blind to the other side. Maybe they were trying to say that his legacy should not be written in AI art. It should be written in people's art inspired by his work. I think maybe that could be something that Aaron was misunderstanding and misconstrued it as people saying, "Oh, his legacy should have died with him." Maybe that could be what's going on. I don't know, but I think that could be what's going on, is that people were trying to say that his legacy should have stayed with him if his art was just going to be replicated through AI. Maybe it was just worded wrong. I don't know. That's a weird statement to read, and I don't really understand. I do think that is a valid thing to think, that someone's legacy should not just continue through AI. It should continue through artists who are inspired by his work, instead of just prompts typed into a machine who spits back the work that the guy's already created. That's the thing. Oh my gosh, there it is. That's the thing. Imagine you create a whole line of artwork, right? And you want your legacy to continue through artists that make new stuff inspired by what you make, right? That's what I think, that's maybe what they were trying to say. It doesn't make sense to continue a legacy through AI that is trained on existing artwork, rather than humans who can make completely new and very valuable artwork based on, inspired by what he created, right? To put in simpler terms, imagine an artist passed away, right? And you want to celebrate the life of this artist through new work inspired by the artist. You want to hold an exhibition inspired by this artist that passed away, but not by showing the art that the artist already made. You want to make this exhibition on artists who were inspired by the dead artist, right? But instead of having a bunch of artists come forth with their work, you just cut out pieces of the previous paintings and mesh them together to create new stuff, right? That's what it is. That's what the argument is. I think that's what they were arguing against. I don't think they were necessarily saying that his legacy should have actually died entirely with him. I think they were saying that his legacy should continue through human-made art inspired by what he did, instead of just training AI on what he already did and making stuff out of it. You can't say making new stuff out of it. You're just making stuff out of what already happens. That's what AI does. Again, I don't know everything. I don't know the whole story behind that specific line. I don't know what people have said for Aaron to conclude that. But if I had to guess, that's where I'm going at with what I'm saying. So when people criticize me for drawing inspiration from Dave Thomas's work, I believe they have missed a point entirely. The greatest compliment an artist can receive is to have future generations care enough about your work to study it, celebrate it, and build upon it, keep it alive. See, Aaron's just, again, not insulting. I'm critiquing. I'm questioning, right? I'm not insulting. I'm just saying you may be wrong about this, all right? I'm not calling you wrong entirely, right? I'm not saying you are a bad person. You're not bad for being wrong. I am just saying I think your stance is in the wrong place. Because of what AI does. Again, it's a different tool, right? He was making the argument that all tools are the same. No, they're not. They're not. You can't paint a painting with a camera. You can take a photograph with it. A camera is a tool for taking a photograph. A paintbrush is a tool for painting a painting. A pencil is a tool for drawing a sketch. You know? You understand where I'm going with that? Every tool is different. That's the argument. That's what everyone's trying to say. That's why everyone is against AI, because it is a tool, but different from a camera. It's different from a paintbrush. It does a different thing. Tools do different things. They don't do the same stuff. That's what AI bros are arguing, is that all tools do the same stuff, and AI, because it's a tool, it does the same stuff that all these other tools do. No, it's different. It is different. It is a different thing. And that's what I'm trying to convey here. That's my argument, is it's a different thing. And what's going on is that Aaron thinks that AI is just a tool like every other thing, and it's creating, this art to keep the legacy alive. Like, yes, AI studies existing artwork, right? But that's about the basis it does, right? It studies it and it builds upon it. That's what AI does, right? Yes, that is true. But it doesn't have the mind to celebrate it. It doesn't have the mind to keep it alive the way we humans do. You understand me? That's what it is. That's what this whole thing is. That's what's going on, right? That's what it is. That's the argument against AI that Aaron, I think, just doesn't understand. Yes, he's right. It studies art. It builds upon it. But it can't celebrate it and keep it alive like we humans do. So we have not missed the point entirely. I think, Aaron, you're just missing ours, if I were to be honest. Not insulting, honesty, all right? I'm being honest. I think you are missing our point. That's what's going on, all right? And I'm not calling you a bad person for that. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone perceives things differently, all right? That's why we have two political parties, right? Everyone sees things differently, and that is okay. I am not trying to make you change your mind. I'm just telling you that I think you have missed our point, the point of everyone arguing against the use of AI. Okay? I think that's what it is. That's it, nothing more. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't care if Aaron says, "Oh, I was wrong, you guys were right." I'm just trying to explain what I see with observation and honesty. I'm not trying to berate or insult anything. And I'm going to keep saying that because I know that it has happened before in this community where critiques are taken as like a very bad like insult on someone's person when they were not meant to be. And I've seen it in my art school where someone will critique something genuinely with honesty and the artist gets offended, right? That's why I keep mentioning it. If you truly believe that an artist's influence should end at the grave, then I suspect you understand very little about artists. That is true. Yes. If people do believe that an artist's influence should end at the grave, that's terrible. That's terrible. That's awful. But again, I think Aaron Fechter is just missing the point that everyone's trying to say. So let's read the comments. Let's read all the loony birds. Let's see what all the loony birds have to say. You should have to understand that the basis of the entire argument against AI for the cover is that AI is not art. It is straight, meaningless slop. That is a more insulting way to say it. That's why I've been avoiding it, but they're right. I agree with that statement. I don't know. That's just such a very straightforward way to say what I've been trying to say, just in a meaner tone. Aaron, I'm sorry, dude. I have so much respect for you, but training an AI model to replicate a deceased man's work to slap on some merchandise is scummy. AI is a cheap way to make art that ends up looking terrible anyways. Why is that? Well, the entire point of art is that it's man-made. AI cannot fully recreate the true authenticity of human art and never will. AI is legitimately a threat to real human art. And the fact you're so supportive of it is really disappointing. Yeah, the valid argument, yes. No, that's a valid, yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm making this video, it's disappointing. Because AI is a threat to human art. I should know. I graduated with a degree in photography and illustration, so that's not to say that anyone without a degree would understand, right? Anyone can understand that who is an artist. I did not know Dave Thomas personally, but I do know that the large majority of talented artists who are passionate about their craft despise AI with their entire soul. That's the argument. Yeah. See, there. That's what I was saying before. That's why I think Aaron missed the point of. That's why I believe Aaron missed the point of people saying that the legacy should die at the grave, is because they were trying to say that any artist with huge talent will not cheapen themselves to use AI, right? That's what artists believe about other artists. That's why they said that. They were not saying that dead artists should keep their legacy dead too. That's not what they were saying. That's why I believe that's what Aaron was getting wrong.
And if Dave was truly passionate about his work, I'd imagine he'd feel the same way. You could easily find a couple of talented human people to replicate Dave's work. That's how you keep his legacy alive, not using a cheap exploit. I understand this completely, Aaron. I think artists are just wanting AI to not take their job. I obviously know Dave Thomas is not alive, but I personally don't agree with AI art, but I think people overreacted a little bit, to be honest.
Okay, alright. Okay, that's a long one. Uh-oh.
I completely understand everything you said, Aaron. The thing is, AI is very controversial in the fandom, but they take the hate to the next level and make it a childish excuse to call you a bad person.
See, that's why I'm making sure that everyone knows I'm not calling Aaron a bad person. I don't want to stoop down to the level of these people.
I'm actually nervous about what to say about it around people who hate it with every fiber of their being. Because if I try to defend you or anyone else who uses it, they'll attack me as well. I hate to say this, but fandoms like this scare me.
That's why I left the Rock-afire fandom. It scared me.
Like, how am I supposed to enjoy watching fun content like this without seeing over-the-top complaining and hate towards you and other fandom people? I myself am not a huge fan of AI, but I don't express hate towards you or anyone else who uses it like other people in the fandom. And I definitely don't act like a brat like the people who say, yummy, yummy AI in my tummy, because those people don't have a brain. I really appreciate what you're doing, and it's extremely thoughtful of you to keep your friend's legacy alive. Like what you're doing along with Shooter to keep Sal's legacy going strong.
I see what Aaron's doing. I see that Aaron is just trying to keep his friend's legacy alive. Like, his heart is in the right place. I should have said that earlier. Aaron's heart is in the right place. I think he's just going about it the wrong way. And that's it. As simple as that. It's not an insulting thing to say.
I really appreciate what you're doing.
Okay.
And we nice Rock-afire fans will do everything to keep your legacy and work alive for years to come. But I hope there's a way to not use AI for artwork so that everybody can enjoy what you created without any divisions, fights, or hate. Keep up the good work, Aaron. I think a lot of people who are also misled as to how the artwork was done. Many people seem to believe that it was fully AI generated, which to my knowledge it was not, and was rather AI assisted. I think a full explanation and process from how Jack did it would clear up some confusion. Either way, there is a huge difference between the two scenarios in my opinion.
Are you saying that Jack drew the art and then added AI? We don't fully know. That's why I suggested Jack explain. Yeah. I was keeping that in mind. I was just arguing with what I know, obviously. I want to express that. I'm not arguing with what is. I'm arguing with what I understand, with what I am taking from all of this. Maybe it is possible that Jack did use AI assistance. Maybe he generated it with AI and used it to help him out, and that's fine. I think what would actually straight up just end this argument, and I am still going to do what I'm going to do, but I think what would just straight up clear the air on all of this is seeing Jack's process. And if he just says, oh, I just typed it into the thing and it made what it made, then all right, there's our answer. And if Jack says, oh, I made AI art and then just drew over it and made it my own, that answers it. There you go. Then we get a fuller picture. I think the problem with these situations is the picture is never in full, and people just take what they see and get all riled up about what they only know. Whereas I want to make sure it's clear that for me, I am just reacting to what I know, and I'm not saying all of this, is fact. It's all there is to the story. I'm only taking in what I know. I fully understand that there is more to it, and there can be more to it. There might be more to it. All right. I want to make sure that's clear on my behalf.
Let's use animation as an example. In the early 90s, another artist made the Ren and Stimpy show for Nickelodeon. The man named John Kay was influenced by the art before him, like Looney Tunes, Bob Clampett, and Hanna-Barbera, etc. Then after a show, many other cartoon shows to this day copy the art, and he had originally pioneered on the Ren and Stimpy show.
Okay, this is very unrelated, but this is kind of funny. I don't support John K., the creator of Ren and Stimpy, as a person because he's done some super sketchy and devious stuff. But my dad grew up with Ren and Stimpy. I like Ren and Stimpy. I think it's a pretty funny show. I like the art behind it. I respect the art behind it. I respect the artistry from John K., as questionable as it is. And again, this is unrelated, but my dad was showing me some Ren and Stimpy episodes, or I was watching it with him, and I don't know, I just made this funny little like comic of my friends. It's probably backwards in the video, but like, I don't know, I just took some like little humorous cues that I've learned from Ren and Stimpy a little bit in other cartoons. I do that with my art. I'm a cartoonist. I am mostly a cartoonist. I take inspiration from all sorts of cartoons. Like, I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of the shows I grew up with. Adventure Time, Steven Universe, shows I know today like Smiling Friends, and older shows. Ren and Stimpy, SpongeBob, you know? I take in so much media, and I let myself be inspired by it and produce my own work built off of it, right? But if I used AI to create those ideas, everything I make would blatantly look like it's in the style of Ren and Stimpy or SpongeBob, or, you know, whatever the case, because the AI takes from the actual source material to create what it creates. It doesn't create stuff inspired by it. That's, again, I don't think I can recall how many times I've already been making that argument, because that is the argument. That is the point. The tool, it is a tool, but it's different than the other tools because it does a different thing. That's what people are saying.
A lot of the cartoon artists today are influenced by him, while he was influenced by the earlier animators before him. Or from before. Take the people who made the later seasons of SpongeBob as an example. More recently, the Disney Plus cartoon, The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, oh god, as I read that, I went into a Mickey Mouse voice, was influenced by Ren and Stimpy style too.
Everyone's on the same track. I think I'm on the same page with these people. And maybe I could have just let these people speak for the argument I'm trying to explain in this video, but making this video seemed to be more fun anyway. And yeah, so I think I said everything there's to say. Let's just get to making some artwork. Some real human-made artwork. Let's give Aaron Fechter a new album cover. And I fully understand that I may not actually be the only person to do this, but I want to give it a try anyway. I want to give it my try. I want to prove the point on my behalf. Prove my point, I absolutely will, but unfortunately, I think I should cut this video short. It got really long on me, and it's a lot. This came up out of nowhere, and it's just such a sudden thing, and I just really wanted to do this. So I might as well put out part 1 now, to stay relevant, because this whole situation is just relevant to right now, and I don't want to post it like couple weeks after the whole event has actually passed. So plus that, and I mean, it's gonna take me a while because I'm focusing on other projects like this one back here. Stay tuned for that one on the main channel, which you might realize I have posted this on the MT's Backyard channel, because I don't want to disrupt the momentum of the MT Creations 2026 Summer Splash Blast with random small return to Rock-afire content video. I'm just trying to maintain the originality of my posting on the main MT Creations channel. But you know what? MT's Backyard is for extra stuff, so I'm more okay with it here. Part 2 is going to take me a while, but here's what you can expect. I am going to be looking through Dave Thomas's art and studying it. I'll do some studying off camera as well. And then I'll be doing the sketches, and you'll see my whole entire process. And I'm even going to log how long it'll take me to make it. So you'll be able to see everything that goes into making human-made art. Literally, the reason it should be appreciated more than AI art. The reason that human-made art is 1,000 times, billion times more valuable than what AI can spit out for you, you know? Maybe I'm taking the very petty route and doing all this, but for me, it's more for fun. It's just like, I'm not trying to take my finger and push Aaron 6 feet into the ground, you know, with this whole thing. I don't even want to stir up any drama. I'm just passionate about making human art be seen And just seeing this happen with something I love so much, the Rock-afire Explosion, it's like I said, I want to be part of the solution and call out the problem. You know, I don't know, it's a whole thing. If you don't believe I can do it for whatever reason, here's a little mini portfolio of what I can do. And I'll put up the examples right here on the screen for you to see. So, if you don't think that I can do it, here's some examples to show you I have what it takes. I don't think anyone will be like, "Oh, Empty Creations, you can't do that. You can't do that. You are awful. You are I don't think anyone's gonna bully me into thinking I can't do it." But I just want to show some of my art to show that I legit am setting up to do this, and I'm not just making part 1 for there to not be a part 2, I suppose. Recreating Dave Thomas's style will be new for me, but I am always open to recreating art styles and trying new things and going outside my comfort zone, doing things that are outside my usual area of illustration. So this is going to be a really fun journey. I'm doing this all for fun, all because I want to. I don't even care if, I don't change the mind of an AI bro. I don't give a crap. I'm just doing this because I have a human-made passion for illustration, and I want to share that with a community that I used to be a prominent part of, and it's just, I want to put myself out there in a very positive way, and I hope I'll be able to achieve that. So with that said, thank you for watching part 1, and I'll see you in part 2.